me. Oh my God, I can't believe this is my first live ever and I'm doing it with Soundarya. Yeah, let's get started. And I want to just thank you for inviting me in doing this with you. You've been so transparent and open about your whole journey.
I never, ever, ever thought I would be doing a few
Mm-hmm.
years ago. But it's like a pull from the market. I just felt like Unshackled as a book happened, and then there was a community, and then a book tour, um, and then this conference. It
Mm-hmm.
slowly stacked up with time. I know the pain because I've been through it myself and still
Mm-hmm.
am very much because I'm still on an O1 work visa.
Right.
But what about you? And where are you currently at? And
Yeah.
what visa are you on? What are you doing?
Yeah, so currently I am in Mountain View, Bay Area.
Oh, great.
So yeah, so very close by to where the Unshackled conference is happening. I am on H1B. So yeah, it was my third turn and I got lucky to get picked in the lottery. But yeah, as you
Amazing.
know, it's like a long way to get a green card and all of that. So it's like just chilling on my H1B right now. But I want to just start with like what kind of motivated you to get into like figuring out your visas, Owen, and also like writing the book. What was like that moment that made you feel like I want to figure this
Hmm.
out?
Oh boy. Definitely personal frustration. I've been very open about this, but for people who don't know who's here, I got an O1 visa denied in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And I desperately wanted this because it would have let me work on multiple writing projects, which I really wanted to do. I was
Mm-hmm.
a product manager at Salesforce. It was a great job. I was not the right fit for it. I
Mm-hmm.
think I just felt like I'm gonna be a better writer and maybe a founder, but more than a product manager. So that motivated me to look into options to quit my job.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, oh, there is something called the O1 visa. And if I can get contracts from publications and places where I can work for the next 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
I can actually quit my job and file through an agent. So a lot of people don't know that
Right.
the O1 visa is it's not just an employer who can file it. An agent, an individual can
Oh,
also file it for you. So
oh,
I
okay.
found someone who was willing to be that, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was the motivation is just how to quit job and be a writer and entrepreneur. That was the motivation.
Yeah, I
And
totally feel you. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, it's
Yeah.
if I let's say I've met 1,000 Indian nationals in my life in the last 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee half of them have told me to my face, I want to quit my job. I just don't
Yeah.
know how to.
Yeah.
It's kind of insane how it's not a trivial number at all, the number of people who've told me that.
Right.
Um, Unfortunately, there's no magic bullet. Even in my case, like what
Mm-hmm.
I did, it took several years to actually quit and get the O1 and do it through my company. It took
Mm-hmm.
2 years or 2.5 years. So
Right.
no easy option, but
Yeah.
option if you want to work hard.
Right, right. That's awesome, actually. Yeah, there's so much to learn in terms of like different visa options that are available, and everything is so confusing, especially when we are coming from India, as we have no idea apart from okay, we have a F1 visa. Now, what do I do? Like, I want to make some money. I have like such a big student loan I want to pay off. Like, what is your advice to like students who come here on F1 visa? Like, what is the things allowed to do on the visa and what are the restrictions to kind of maybe make a few like extra money?
Yeah, I'll answer that. And in the meantime, I'm going to
Hmm.
tell whoever is watching that
Hmm.
please feel free to put your questions like
Yes.
Yash and Swaraj have already put in. We'll
Hmm.
get to that right after we answer this question. We'll get to
Yes.
all of yours. So please
Yes.
put it in there.
Yes.
Um, your question was, what are the boundaries of making money on an F1 visa?
Correct.
We'll
Yeah.
call it that. The F1 visa is meant for you to be a student, not make
Hmm.
money. That's
Right.
the foundation.
Correct.
You can make passive income. And I'll give you an example of what is passive and what's active.
Hmm. Yes.
Let's say this is very unlikely, but let's say you had a house in the US as a
Hmm.
student. There is a room in the house that you're not using, and you'd like to rent it out through Airbnb.
Right.
So
Right.
you go out there and find a property rental management firm, you give it to
Hmm.
them, and you just be like, you take 20%, just give me the 80%.
Hmm.
That's passive because you're not really spending time on it. They're
Right.
taking care of it.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, you have you yourself managing the Airbnb, responding to clients,
Mm-hmm.
taking care of customer queries. All of that is pretty active.
Right.
So that would be considered active work, and that's not legal. So
Mm-hmm.
with everything, you have to think of what is passive, what's active, and how can I be on this side of the spectrum.
Right.
But the ways through which I've seen people make money through F1 generally
Mm-hmm.
is earning like referral rewards. Let's say you refer a friend for a credit card
Oh, right,
and
right,
you
right.
get money through that. That's
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that happen.
Right.
Um,
And like 20 hours part-time job as well, right? When you're a student, you can work 20 hours part-time on campus only. Yeah, not off campus. So
yeah.
some things like that.
But the 20 hours is if you get the CPT or OPT for that. So you'd have to get that
Right.
for the job you're doing,
Right, right. Yeah.
which you can't really get that for Airbnb management. You'd have to get it
Mm-hmm.
for something in your field.
Right.
Anyways, another thing I've seen people do would be if you have a blog
Mm-hmm.
and someone is paying you money to advertise something on the blog, maybe. But if you're actively looking for these people, then it's considered active work. So I think as an F1 student, honestly, the best way to make money is just go through CPT, OPT, because
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to make that much money otherwise anyway.
Right, right,
Might as well
right.
go through the safest pathway. Well, I was going to answer some questions, but
Yeah,
please.
yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah. Swaraj is asking, are you from GT? I don't know what GT.
Yes, I'm from Georgia Tech. GT is
Okay.
Georgia Tech, yeah.
Yash asks, could you please share the details of the agent and how is the process? I'm
Mhm.
thinking about NIW, so can you please share the process and any info about the petition draft? Yeah. Um, Two different questions almost. I think Yash, your first question is about the O1 agent process. I guess the process there is you need to find someone who is a US citizen. Only they can be an agent for you. Think of yourself in the shoes of an actor or an actress. You know, actresses have agents who
Mhm.
represent them, and actresses are always working on multiple movies at the same time. So, even though agent makes you think of actors and actresses, you can actually do it even as an engineer, a product manager, a writer, and so on.
Mhm.
So, it's not very common though. I mean, you might get an RFE because the officer is just not used to seeing an agent representing an engineer. So, it's more tricky, but possible. Legally, it's allowed. I can't think of any websites where you can go find these agents, and I wouldn't trust them even if it can, just because the agent is a very important part of your application. They are the ones, it's like they have the keys to your house. Do you really want to give the key to your house to some stranger on the internet? Think about that. But I'm thinking about the NIW. So, Vanita, do you know what's the NIW, first of all?
No, I have no
Okay,
idea. Can you
great.
explain,
Now
please?
I can show off my knowledge.
Oh,
So,
nice.
NIW stands for National Interest Waiver. Um, EB2, have you heard of EB2 before?
Yeah,
Huh. You probably heard of EB2 as the pathway through which most people apply for a green card.
right.
But that's also the pathway that's stuck in a queue for the last 10 years. So you're
Mhm.
probably not going to get a green card in this lifetime if you apply today through the EB2.
Right.
Um, a lot of people have applied for the NIW, including myself, in the last few years, is because you can self-sponsor, first of all.
Okay.
So you do not need an employer to sponsor your green card.
Oh.
That's great.
Mhm.
Second, you can skip the perm process. The perm process is something that takes up to 2 years at times,
Yeah.
where you have to show that there's no American who can do my job and hence you should let me do my job. You can skip all of that.
Mhm.
But in exchange for that, you have to show you are doing something that is of national importance to this country and you are well positioned to work on this nationally important topic. I won't go into the details, but Yash, what I would say is if you go to my profile, there is a free guides highlight that I've posted where I've published guides on some 10 different topics. NIW is one of them. Go read the guide, which has a lot of information. It's just a free, you can download for free and read it. This is written with a lawyer, by the way. It's not just me as an immigrant writing it, there's a lawyer who vetted this.
Mhm. Nice. Yeah. Even in your book, Unshackled, I've heard like, okay, this is a lawyer verified book. It's not just like, okay, I tried this.
That was very important because I've been wanting to write a book on the O1 specifically, early 23 or like mid 23, but I didn't want to do it on my own. I just felt like, what's the authority? Why should anyone trust me?
Right.
So I realized, no, I really do need a lawyer who can work with me closely on this entire book project. So I approached Samir, who thankfully agreed, and yeah, we had a great time just writing that book. And Samir, of course, verified every single sentence of the book to make sure it's all good. Uh,
Nice.
yeah.
That's great. Awesome. So also let's talk about student who has already done with their studies, finished their degree, they transition to OPT, and then there's STEM OPT. So what is the gap in between, like when you transition from F1 to OPT, you need to find a job. So what is that number of days that is allowed, and what happens if you go over that? What is the option? How can you kind of
Mm.
avoid getting kicked out of the country?
This is actually a great. Someone in
Mhm.
the Q&A asked, "Can you work for multiple employers on F1 OPT?" Great
Mhm.
question. So yes, you can. You can work for multiple employers on OPT as long as you can show that you're spending 20 hours a week with the employer and the work is related to your job, to your degree in some way. That's important. Your question, the moment you graduate, you have up to 90 days before you have to start a job.
Mhm.
It's not just finding a job, you have to start working for the job.
Right.
Um, and if you don't, then you'd have to leave the country. There's no option.
Mhm.
But the good news is you can volunteer. You don't have to only get a paid position, which is harder than getting a free position somewhere.
Mhm.
So if I was someone and I had, let's say, 30 days left on my 90-day clock, I would just reach out to all the startups coming out of Y Combinator, Techstars, and all these accelerators.
Mhm.
I'd reach out and be like, I'm an international student. I'd love to volunteer for your company. These are my skills. Will you please take me in? And all you have to do is give me an offer letter. That's it.
Right. Right.
That's an easy sell than trying to get an actual job. And then you'll get 1 year to figure
Mhm.
out. And obviously, you want a job because you want to make money,
Right.
but it'll give you some breathing room instead of needing to immediately take the worst job that comes up.
Also know that one more way is getting like a letter from your professor. I don't know if it's like legal or like what's your thought on it. Like some people just get a letter that they are working with the professor doing some research. Is that like
I
legal? Yeah.
think it's probably okay. I mean, as long as, once again, the rule is asking you,
Mhm.
are you working at least 20 hours a week? Is the work related to your degree? If the answer is yes, probably okay. But once again, neither of us are lawyers, and I think people should
Mhm.
take everything we're saying as it's general knowledge, but there are nuances that you have to look for by talking to an attorney.
Somebody said, isn't it 90 days after you have OPT?
That's actually a good point. I that now depends on what's the window between when you graduate and when your OPT starts. And I believe there's a way in which you can push that a little forward. I think you may be right. It's 90 days after the OPT clock starts,
Mhm.
which will be mentioned in your EAD card.
Right.
So check for that.
A lot of people put their EAD card date a little later so that the clock starts later.
Yes.
So yeah, that's something I've heard, but yeah, I'm not sure.
Actually, now that I think about it, I remember doing that myself for
Yeah.
Salesforce when I joined. I tried to push it out as much as possible so
Hmm.
that I could have more time in India and the OPT clock won't start immediately. So, yes. Adi Jain, O1 data
Hmm.
collection is overwhelming. Any tips to make it smoother? You know, I I mean, my O1 application was like 750 pages. It was absurdly
Oh
long. And it's
my gosh.
I think a normal application would be about 300 to 400 pages. I just had a lot of articles I'd published in places. I shared pages from my books, so that took a lot of space. But
Hmm.
how to make it smoother? I don't know if this is going to be hugely helpful, Adi, but within the Unshackled community, we give people a Google Sheet with like a clean guidance on how to use it to gather evidence for O1. So that may be helpful for you. I think it's meant for people who are members of Unshackled, but why don't you email? I'm putting in the email in chat.
Hmm.
Just email hi at Read Unshackled. Mention that you are part of this live and that I asked you to email to get access to the O1 EB1 evidence tracker, the sheet that we created. So you can use that to organize it at least, like to keep things in one place clearly.
Mhm.
I used that sheet for my O1, so I helped other people with like creating that sheet. So just email us on that.
Nice. So we moved ahead to the oven question, but I wanted to go back a little bit and try to understand, like, how do you know that you are qualified? Like, you can get an oven, or like, what is the requirements for oven, and what are the different types? Can you explain a little bit on that?
Absolutely. Okay, so O1 doesn't mean O1 has no like full form. It's just O1. It's a category.
Mm-hmm.
It was published in 1990 along with the H1B. This is important because since 1990, that's 1990, they
Mm-hmm.
haven't changed the criteria. Meaning, in 35 years,
Mm-hmm.
since we've had the internet, like World Wide Web, social media, AI, internet, all of this,
Wow.
the O1 criteria has remained the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
They have made some slight tweaks in terms of expanding what a certain criteria means, but it hasn't really changed. This is why
Mm-hmm.
when people see it for the first time, they think, how the hell am I ever going to get there? There's no way.
Right. Right.
Because they see things like international awards and original contribution, and it's very daunting.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say to people, like, take a step back, go read articles that break down the criteria in depth,
Mm-hmm.
especially articles like that's titled like O1 for data scientists, how to get an O1 as an engineer. Go understand what other people have done before,
Right.
because I guarantee that it's definitely harder than you would expect, but it's easier than you fear. This is a quote that a friend of mine always says that I'm stealing right now, but um, it's harder than you expect, but it's easier than you think when you first see the criteria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like different types of oven as well. Like I know there are
Oh, right.
different, yeah, like
Yes.
1A and stuff. Yeah.
Um, there's an O1A
Mm-hmm.
and then O1B. That's it. Just two types.
Okay.
O1A is meant for people like you and me, founders, entrepreneurs. Sorry, that's the same thing. Founders, engineers, product managers, business analysts, educators, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
O1B is meant for people who are artists,
Right.
uh, chefs, actresses, singers, dancers, writers, and so on.
Okay. Nice.
Generally, you fall under one or the other. It's very clear. But some people, like UX designers, they could fall under both A or B. So it's at
Okay.
that point, it's a decision of the lawyer to decide which one you should fall under. But the O1B, I've been told, is slightly easier than the O1A because it only has six criteria, not
Mm-hmm.
eight. You
Oh,
still
okay.
have to meet three out of six. But the criterias are, if you read it, you'll understand why. But some of the criterias are slightly easier to attain than an O1A, but that's just
Mm-hmm.
like a general opinion I've heard. Toto, are publications mandatory for O1? Absolutely not mandatory. Look, publications is one out of eight criteria. So if you feel like that's just not your cup of tea, you don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also in publications, people think only academic papers work. That's not really true. I had zero academic papers, although I mean actually I had one from IIM Ahmedabad,
Mm-hmm.
but most of my evidence was blog articles and newspaper articles, like articles I published in newspapers and blogs.
Like not related to your field, just articles or related to
No,
your field.
no, related to the field
Okay.
of O1. In
Okay.
my case, the field of O1 was like talent mobility, so it has to be related to that.
Got it. Got it.
But
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it doesn't have to be a paper, a journal paper. It can be an article as well.
Right.
So that should hopefully help it make it easier because I feel like with the advent of AI, writing has become very cheap. Anyone can write even an entire book these days
That's
with
true.
AI, which
Yeah.
is really sad for me as a writer who spends like a year trying to write something. But
That's true.
but I do think it's become very easier for other people to
Mm-hmm.
write. So you should definitely look for. So what's your field, Vinny? What do you work as right now?
Okay, yeah, I work as a project coordinator for a construction company. So I did my master's in architecture, and then now I transitioned to construction management. So yeah.
Okay, okay, interesting. So let's take your area of expertise as construction management and
Hmm.
specifically project coordination.
Right.
If I were you, I would roughly look for blogs on construction management.
Hmm.
I would look for blogs on how technology is used in construction and
Right.
then try to pitch ideas to these blogs to
Hmm.
be a writer. And if
Right.
any of these pitches are taken into account, then you can write the article and it will go through an editing process and so on.
Right. Right. Okay.
Um, just make sure the blog you're picking is a renowned blog. It can't just be, someone across the world is maintaining it and no one reads it.
Mm.
It has to have a readership of at least 500,000 people.
Okay. Got it.
That's just once again a rule of thumb that we always tell people. The Adi says, I'm trying to get my own, which is not linked to my employer.
Hmm.
So you still need a sponsor, Adi. It can be an agent, but you still need a sponsor. You can't self petition for the O1 unless you set up a company, you own 100% of the company, you appoint board of directors, and then you have the company file it for you. Like you still have a separation from the employer there because there's a board of directors, but that's technically possible. I mean, that's what I did actually. So that's another option. Are citations mandatory for NIW? Can we add research papers which was published 6 years ago when I was in India? Um, Mandatory. I wouldn't say it's mandatory. I mean, once again, my NIW had zero citations because I had zero journal papers. I just showed other types of evidence. Like
Hmm.
I showed my books, the books I published, articles I published, press published on me, um, some judging instances I had done. I got an award from a VC fund. So stuff like this I showed.
Hmm.
So you don't have to show it, but once again, I'll tell you what this is like. This is something all of us can resonate with. We all came to this country to study, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
This is like asking, is a 340 on 340 GRE score necessary to get into Stanford? No one can say because it depends on the whole profile. It's not just one thing that they look at. They look at everything.
Hmm.
So that's the closest example I could think of right now.
And then we can also talk about the amazing conference that we have upcoming in the
Oh
Bay
yeah.
Area.
I forgot that I had set up this to mention that. Whoever is in the Bay Area from you guys,
Mhm.
check out Unshackled.events. Specifically, if you're a student, we're hosting a job fair. I mean, we're working really hard to get employers who are willing to sponsor students. So if you're a student looking for a job, do
Wow.
not miss this job fair. It's like $40 to join the job fair. And we kept some dollar amount because people won't take it seriously otherwise. They'll just sign up and not show up.
Right.
So we want people to at least take it seriously.
Hmm.
But definitely get the job fair pass without fail. Question from Go Jink. If you don't have enough publications awards, what's the way to build your portfolio? Yeah. I,
Hmm.
I actually think publications and awards are secondary. The main thing that's going to help you is have you done good work in your company and in your field? Because the main two pillars of the original contribution and critical capacity. Original contribution says that you've done something novel that has impacted the people in your field. Critical capacity says you have been a very important part of a company that is distinguished. So let's take your company, for example. It's a construction management company.
Right.
How many employees are there?
150.
Perfect. So 150 employees means it's definitely making decent money. So you can say it's a, pretty distinguished company.
Hmm.
But now it's a question of can you get a letter from your founder saying that you've done good work for the company, like critical work?
Hmm.
Then maybe you'll get the critical capacity.
Got it.
So I actually think like people should focus more on doing great work at their job and in their industry,
Hmm.
open source projects, and then focus on other criteria like authorship, judging, and so on. Amit is asking,
Hmm.
can PhD degree from US University help in EB1? Um, on its own, just having a degree doesn't really matter, to be honest. But if during the degree you publish 3 papers and you've been cited by other people, you peer reviewed other people's papers at conferences, those things matter. So go read the criteria, and then see how you could like map to what you're doing right now. And he also asks a follow-up, how much citations are good for EB1? Yeah, a lot of people ask us this question when we do webinars. Citations are not necessary per se. I mean, the rule doesn't say you need citations. It just says you need to publish scholarly articles in reputed journals.
Okay.
Certainly helps, because if people are citing your work, it means, you've done something that's useful.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessary. I don't know the number, to be honest. Like, your lawyer will have to answer the question. Okay, more questions are coming. Go Heng is asking, what is the way of evaluating that you've done good work? How do we start in documentation to present? Hmm.
That's a good question. I have that question.
What is the way of evaluating? I mean, let's take your example, Vinita. Like, I'm going to assume that you're a good employee at this company. What is the most impactful project you worked on, you think? Like, just give me a very high level. What did you do?
In this company or like previous?
Either, both.
Okay. So I worked on the Google headquarter flagship building in the design architecture company that was working on that. So yeah.
Amazing.
hmm
And also, okay, so were you playing an important part of this team that was doing that?
Yeah, I was like the on-site coordinator for like the field team basically, and then construction management side as well.
Amazing.
hmm
Do you think you can ask your manager of that team to write a letter saying you were an important part of that?
Yeah. hmm
Perfect. So that is how I would go about it, is whoever asks the question, uh, ask yourself top 5 projects you worked on that has been great, like impactful. Who was the manager for those projects? Will they sign a letter that you write saying you were important? And even better, can you ask your manager's manager to sign the letter? Or even better, the manager's manager's manager. Like however high you can go is better.
Nice.
So does that help you like understand how this works?
Right, right. Yeah. And like basically like the more senior they are, the better the impact is on your.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
I guess I kind of answered Anagal's question. Do journal reputations matter? But I'll repeat again. It does matter. Um, Showing that you publish in IEEE versus some no-name journal that has a low H index or whatever you measure it by, it does matter. So yes, the answer is yes. Are O1 and H4 EAD the only visas that let you start a business in the US? Asked by Toto. No, absolutely not. You can also start a business on the H1B.
Okay.
You can start a business on IEP, International Entrepreneur Parole.
Mm-hmm.
You can start a business on the L1A or B,
Okay.
and you can start a business on the B1. But in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what you can do, there's some pros and cons to each of them. I would say the best way to understand this is read my book Unshackled, because about every single pathway in which you can start a company and the pros and cons. I can't explain all of it in a few minutes, so I would just read the book. Hariharan,
Mm-hmm.
master's student who came in spring semester, you just came. Can you give me an idea on how I can look up for work? I don't have experience. Hmm. What do you think, Nita? You may be better at this.
Yeah. Hi, Riharan. Hi. So yeah, I would say start with like an internship. Try to get something. Like if you're a student, try to work under a professor, or if you can get a TA, RA position, that will help. Like you just need to gather some experience in the US right now, so that you can say once you graduate that okay, I have like a year experience of working, even if it's an internship or part time. You gather some knowledge and you have experience of working in the US, because that's what they look for. And then once you apply for like a full-time job after you graduate, that will help you like add the experience from your internships.
Absolutely. I think, sorry, who asked the question? Hari.
Hari, Hari.
You have another maybe 12 months in your semester or maybe 18 months. Stack up as many projects as you can, like Vinita said.
Mhm.
Projects where you can show some results. Things you can talk about in an interview. because that's what they're going to look for, right? They want to know, have you done interesting things? Can you talk to me about that? At
Mhm.
least I'm a great example because when I came to study at Columbia University, I had zero experience in management, nothing.
Mhm.
I had been a chemical engineer in my undergrad.
Okay.
The only reason I got into Columbia is because I had great grades, I had great GRE scores, at, resume and all of that.
Mhm.
But I had to start from scratch. So I took courses where I could work on projects, and I added
Mhm.
these projects in my resume
Right.
and talked about that during my interviews. So, yeah, whatever she said right now, do that. I think job search is another thing that people tend to feel very, it's like a black box for a lot of people. It's like, oh, I put an application, I never hear back. What's really
Mhm.
happening?
Right.
I would maybe take a step back and think of, if I was doing job search right now, the
Mhm.
way I would do it is I'll make a list of 10 companies first that I really want to join. I would sign up for all the companies' newsletters to make sure I know what's happening with each of them.
Mhm.
I would obviously follow all of the founders and head of growth and marketing at these companies on
Mhm.
LinkedIn to see what's happening. The moment there's an opportunity that comes up where I could volunteer my time with any of these companies, I would jump in.
Right.
And
Mhm.
once I get into the network, it's a lot easier to be like, hey, by the way, I
Right.
also have these skills. I've been following you for a while. I'd love to join. That is a better strategy than, use the same AI tool to apply to 1,000 places every single day.
Mhm. I agree.
Just, yeah.
Yeah. I would also add, like, I would message all the people in the company as well, like from junior to senior, to even like message the CEO of the company. And like, who cares? Nobody's judging you on that. Like, you're just trying to, reach out and just see like if you can get somebody on a one-on-one chat. That will be really like
Yeah,
a good, starter icebreaker, and then you can maybe crack an interview from that conversation or a couple of conversations like that.
absolutely. So Yash is asking, I'd like to come for the event. I'm in Wisconsin. Is there any way for accommodation? So what I can tell you, Yash, is we're getting discounted hotel rates for this hotel that's right next to the conference venue.
Mhm.
So I think it'll come to like $130. That's the cheapest we're able to get there. It's like just sadly how expensive Bay Area is. So we will give you those discount codes so you can stay at the hotel. The hotel is where all the speakers will be staying at as well, by the way. So you also get to maybe
Nice.
meet the speakers if you're there.
Yeah,
Um,
network.
and to Yash specifically, you can use the code. I'm giving the discount code in the chat. You can use the code SB20. That's my full name, Soundarya Balasubramanian. SB20 to get 20% off tickets. So I think it's still valid. So make sure to use it right away. Adi asks, how many LORs are ideal for O1A? Good question. So O1 requires you to get some letters of
Hmm.
recommendation.
Right.
My O1 only had 3 letters. My NIW had maybe 3 letters.
Hmm.
Some lawyers get like 10 letters.
Okay.
I think 5 is probably good, but it's,
Hmm.
it's more about, are your recommenders talking about different things? Because all 5 cannot be saying the same thing in the letter.
Okay.
So make sure you get people who can talk about different aspects of why you are extraordinary.
And like different companies. Yeah.
Yeah, a different, like a professor, a manager, a CEO, and so on.
Hmm.
Oh, good question from Jenny. Do we need to wait endlessly in the same company for the I-140 processing? It seems so tedious. When is the ideal time to switch jobs? My area of expertise is not exactly EB2 I-140, but I will say if they're currently processing it, I don't know if you can switch because then you'd have to start the process again.
Hmm.
You could look into the NIW. So, National Interest Waiver, we were talking about it earlier. If you missed the part, go to my profile, go to the free guides highlight. One of the highlights is a EB2 NIW free guide. Read about it, see if you could qualify. And if you can, you will control the entire process and you can switch anytime you want. I didn't have the opportunity to look for any summer internships. I'm working on finding RATA jobs. Right. I think you and I were talking about like taking courses, right? Not just finding internships.
I was, um, what I did was kind of looked for internships and even on campus roles which are kind of aligning with my course, like, or even working with a professor who's doing research in the same industry, basically related to design or something. So that will be helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Um, yeah, I mean, Hari, like there's no trick answer to your question. The answer is to get experience however you can, whether that is through volunteering for
mhm,
free somewhere or working on an open source project yourself, something that'll
yeah.
get you the experience. Sorry, I'll just tell Yash because there's a follow-up.
Mhm,
Do you know the name of the hotel, or I will get to know after I buy ticket? So the hotel is Embassy Suites by Hilton. That's Embassy Suite Suite by Hilton. And it's the closest hotel to the conference venue, which is the India Community Center. So that'll be the hotel. And we'll get you like the discounted rate as we get closer. Ooh, Tanmay asks about day one CPT.
mhm,
Is it safe to do for extending in the US? Is there any other option? Um, this is truly a black hole for me, at least, the day one CPT.
mhm,
It's like a thing that people have done it before.
yeah.
There's been no issue there, but at any point it could become an issue. I personally would be very hesitant to do the day one CPT. I would rather try to, okay. So Vinita, let's take your example. You got the
Mhm,
H1B picked on the third time,
yeah.
but you very well could not have gotten it, right? It's a luck.
Right. Yeah.
If
I
that
was
had
also
happened,
considering day one CPT in that case. Yeah, for sure.
I know
But
this is a long shot, but I would look into the O1 first.
mhm,
You still have 12 months to potentially get it. So I would at least try for the O1.
right.
I would look for a cap exempt H1B organization. Cap exempt means you don't have to go through the lottery, but it only applies to places like universities, hospitals, nonprofit
Right.
research organizations. So it's not ideal, but
Mm-hmm. Also, I've heard like once you go in the cap one, you cannot transition back to the normal H1B very easily, like because you have a certain type of H1B which is non-capped. It is not like you can switch to a tech job. Is that
yes and
correct?
no. Here's
Okay.
what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can get a cap exempt job and you can get a second H1B on top, which is your cap subject with your employer.
Oh, okay.
But you can never let go of the cap exempt job because the moment you do that, you will have to let go of this as well. So until you get an H1B picked through the next lottery.
So you can
So
apply for two H1Bs, one capped and the other one non-capped. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
in fact, there is an entire company that helps you do this where it's called Build Fellowship. So search for Build, Build Fellowship.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel is the person who runs that. So they're actually coming to the conference.
Oh,
So whoever
nice.
asked, Tanmay asked the question. Daniel is one of the speakers at the conference who will talk about how to use the CAP exempt H1B as a alternate to the CAP subject H1B.
Mm. Also
And
L1, I think, sorry, Tim, but for
yeah,
this, in case, like I have some friends who couldn't clear it in 3 rounds, so then their employer send them to a different country. Like you have the option, depending
oh
on the
yeah,
employer, they can send you, if they have an office in the different country, you can go there, work for a year, and then come back in on L1, and then you get
yes,
5 years, but you have to work for the same employer. Is that right? I'm not sure.
yes, everything you said
Okay.
is right. The
Mm-hmm.
difference, the one nuance is it's L1A and L1B.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
L1A is meant for people who are managers.
Mm-hmm.
L1B is meant for like specialized knowledge employees. So, um, yeah, it's kind of a longer route. You have to leave the country. It's
Mm-hmm.
tedious.
Right.
But the other option is leave and go back to India or your home country,
Mm-hmm.
work from there, and
Okay.
try again next year in the next lottery.
Oh, you can
You
basically you
can,
need to get a job or you work remotely
yes,
in India.
yes, your US
Okay.
employer has to file it.
Mm-hmm.
But, or I would say people, this is what I'm going to say, the O1 is easier than people fear. If you had 18 months to prepare,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that hard. I mean, it's it's about doing good work in your field. I think 18 months is a good enough time that you can do that if you really focus on it.
Right.
Where can I know about the cap exam jobs? I don't think there's a place for cap exempt jobs, sadly. I would reach out to Build Fellowship, Tanmay. They might have some resource. I don't know of any at the moment, but it's generally universities and nonprofits and hospitals where you can work through this.
Right.
But reach out to Build Fellowship, Daniel. I really hope, the conference, what we're doing,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a way to bring the community together and make it feel like it's not so hopeless. Because when
Mm-hmm.
you're doing this by yourself,
Right.
you're sitting in your room and you're looking at all these options and you're thinking, oh, I don't even understand what this means. How do I do
Right.
this?
Right.
Versus when you're in a room with lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
with experts, with creators, with people who've done this before, I'm hoping that the anxiety is lesser when
Right.
you leave the event. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm excited about that part, the legal advice, having all the lawyers, and you can actually come and ask questions in the in the conference. So
Yeah, just so I
that's really
don't
helpful.
miss it, I should tell all of you that
Yes.
you will find 10 lawyers in a room all day giving free consults. So you just have to book a slot in advance. You'll
Okay.
get 30 minutes in front of them. You can ask any questions, and maybe they'll be your lawyer to file a case as well. And we're getting them specifically to offer free legal consults. So if you're coming to the event, make use of that for sure. Like Yash, for example, seems like you may be coming, so make use of that. And we're also getting O1 EB1 recipients.
Mm-hmm.
At least like 30 to 50 people would come who have gotten the O1 and EB1 visas. So
Mm-hmm.
we're going to give them a different color tag. So like you can
Nice.
spot
You
them
can
easily and you can
talk to
start
them.
talking to them at that
Nice,
point.
nice. That's yeah, we need these conversations to happen more so that the stress about the whole visa situation it's a little more easy to understand and kind of figure out what is the best way for you. Because right now we just like move away from these conversations. Nobody feels confident about like, oh, I don't know what Owen is. Why should I apply for something I have no idea about, right? Everyone's doing H1B, let's just do that. That seems like the safe option, but also that takes the longest amount of time. So not the best option maybe.
Yeah, it's really not. I mean, it's not even about the longest time. Slightly unconventional. The H1B is
Mm-hmm.
not meant for that.
Right.
I mean, the O1 is more flexible. I would say the O1 is better for that.
Mm-hmm.
But even beyond the O1, there's probably six other options that you haven't checked. It may be uniquely great for just your specific scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, anyways, I mean, I know too much about the immigration system at this point that
Right.
it's easy for me to talk about these things, but it's not as easy to actually go through the process. So I don't want to make it sound like, it's all
Mm-hmm.
easy. It's not.
Right. To ask how long it takes to get citizenship or green card after you get your open.
The O1, getting the O1 has nothing to do with the green card because the
Mm-hmm.
green card is about
Okay.
getting your I-140 approved
Okay.
and getting a priority date that is so okay. Well, let's actually end the webinar with this is a great point to end it on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Getting a green card has two steps. First step, you get a place in line to get a green card.
Okay.
Second step, the line moves, you get to the front of the line,
Mm-hmm.
and then you apply for the green card. Getting a place in line itself is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
But then for it to move to the front, that's the really frustrating part. Even for EB1A, which is for extraordinary ability people,
Mm-hmm.
the wait time is like it's 3.5, 3 years right now.
Right.
And that is assuming the line moves forward.
Mm-hmm.
So even EB1A, which used to be current, it's not anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
it's frustrating for a lot of people. But
That's
O1
right.
is not a green card. O1 is just a
Right.
visa.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get the O1 in 2 weeks, like a premium processing 2 weeks. I got
Right.
mine in 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a green card. Once
Is
again,
that?
getting the O1 has nothing to do with the green card. But I think what you're saying is, let's say I got the O1. How
Mm-hmm.
soon can I apply for my EB1A?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
I know someone who
Sorry.
applied in 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
and they got the EB1A. They pretty much had the exact same evidence and they applied and they got it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a very rare scenario. I would say people generally take a year to add more evidence and then file an EB1. Okay, one last question from Tanmay.
Mm-hmm.
Any specific amount of years of experience required for O1 visa? Can it be done with two with job experience? Yeah, I mean, my co-founder got his own when he was 20 years old, when he had not even 1 year of experience
Oh, wow.
technically. So I don't think they care about the regulation doesn't say you have to have X years of experience. The officer may still be suspicious, but they cannot deny a visa because they have to follow the regulation.
In what
So,
situation will it be denied? Sorry, last question.
in a situation where they feel like you didn't meet the evidence,
Okay.
where they feel like even though you published articles, they feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's not published in reputed journals. Or even though you've done critical work at your company,
Mm-hmm.
they feel that the company itself is not very like some hedges. They might be like, something is not, I don't feel convinced. And that's a very
Mm-hmm.
frustrating thing because even if you meet everything, the officer may still be like, I just don't think you're extraordinary. So I'm not going to give this to you. And
Right.
that could happen. It happens in many cases, and
Yeah.
it's the way it is. I mean, you could
Then you can
refile.
refile, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey,
Awesome.
we've
This is
spent
super.
almost an entire hour talking about
Yeah.
this. I didn't
Thank you
expect
so
this.
much. This is so, so helpful. And I'm super excited to be part of the Unshackled conference. August 15th to 16th. So yeah, if you guys can make it there, that'll be amazing. It'll be a very, very productive and informative session. And you'll also have some fun with Kenny Sebastian being the comic. So that'll be a fun
Yes,
experience.
Kenny
Yeah.
Sebastian is coming for a comedy show. We're having a DJ night with this person who can mix Indian and techno music.
Oh,
I just
wow.
confirmed it last week.
Nice.
And we're doing a dating event, speed dating event.
Mm-hmm.
Any open to anyone. If you're interested in meeting other people who are immigrants and, you can sign up for that. I'm just
Right.
putting that out there. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to. It's optional. And so yeah, we have a lot of fun elements happening at the event.
Awesome. And the
Oh, the
job
job fair.
fair. Yeah, that's so, so important. I feel like people can really benefit from, especially job fair, which is jobs which are also sponsoring H-1B, so, or visas basically. So that will be super
Exactly.
helpful. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so, so, so
Of
much.
course,
And
thank you.
thank you all for asking great questions. I will be doing more lives in the coming weeks, so watch out for it. And I'll see you, Vinita, in 8 weeks.
Yeah. I'll see you there. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining.
Bye.
Have a good day.